Welcome to Leaving Nothing to Chance, your go-to podcast where we bring you insights from some of the most influential voices in small business and personal development. Each week, we dive deep into conversations with top thought leaders, authors, and business moguls from around the world, sharing their secrets to success and strategies for growth. Tune in for exclusive content that will inspire, motivate, and equip you to take your journey to the next level. This is Leaving Nothing to Chance.
Hey, everybody. I want to introduce everyone to a new friend of the show. I was blessed to be on her show last week, and she's on our show this week. And that is Christine McCarron, all the way from Boston, Massachusetts. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Great. And we were just comparing weather between Texas, Boston in the summertime, and I would much prefer to be where you are.
It's funny. I have a friend who lives in Dallas and she loves the cold weather. I'm like, you are misplaced. You'll switch. We can swap.
Yeah, it's almost the opposite. Of course, when you guys are getting like 2 feet of snow and it's 70 here in January, it's kind of like,
No one's crying about it then.
So let's tell everybody a little bit about you, and then you feel free to fill in the gaps. You've got a great podcast, which over 300 shows now, I think, right? That's
We're in year 6.
Wow. Wow. And it's called Get Your Fill, Financial Independent and Long Life. And the Phil stands for Financial Independence and Long Life. I love that little play on words.
I'm too old for fire, so I had to.
Not too old. You don't know what old is on this side of the camera. And of course, you wrote a great book, Empower Your Inner Millionaire.
Yes, I did. Thank you very much.
On Amazon?
Yeah, you can. The easiest place to get it and to find out stuff is just my website, which is chrismccarron.com.
And let's tell everybody about you a little bit. I found it interesting that at 50, you realized, hey, I have nothing saved for retirement. And unfortunately, a lot of not only Americans, we both have people listen to our shows outside the country too. Some people have that moment where they go, uh-oh. You had that uh-oh moment. You acted on it to your credit. A lot of people haven't. And if you're listening and if you are over 50 or even late 40s, listen to what Christine shares, because it's just so important to not run out of money before you run out of life.
Absolutely. It's not even so much that I realized I didn't have any money. It's that I realized I was 50. I was like, what? How did that happen?
I do it every morning. It's like, how did I get here? There was that great comedian, and I forget his name now, but he had a show a few years ago. I think it was on Netflix, where he said, if I look in the obituaries, my name's not in there, I get up.
Good way to start the day. Hey, I'm on the right side of the lawn. All right.
So many people have a bad relationship with money. You obviously recognize that you could have a good relationship with money. What did you do? What were the steps?
It's all mindset, John. You know that yourself, I'm sure, when you're coaching people and talking to people. It's all mindset. And once you recognize and be honest with yourself that, like, I have a scarcity mindset. I am making decisions. I'm buying the cheapest stuff thinking that because I don't feel like I have enough. And once you recognize that and you start to shift that, then the universe just takes over from there, right? The work is done at that point, but it's not so easy. It's easier said than done.
And I think the business you engaged in was in real estate.
Yeah. And I was in real estate already. I'd been in real estate already for a few years by then, but I was just helping people rent apartments. It's not real estate. It can be a lucrative business, but if all you're doing is going through the motions, you're just surviving and not flourishing. So
where that paradigm shift came in your mindset, where you said, okay, I'm 50. 50 is not old, but 50 is not young. If from a financial standpoint, it's the old, they asked Einstein what his greatest revelation was, and everybody always thought it was the theory of relativity. And he said, no, it's compound interest.
Yeah, exactly.
And at 50, if you haven't saved money yet, compound interest is against you instead of ahead of you. So,
right.
You took steps and you came to that realization. But at first, did you go into a depression? Did you just say, okay, I need to get going here? What
Yeah, I did go into a mini. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you exactly what changed my attitude because I was like thinking, oh my God, I'm 50. I wasted all this time. I was in this, poor me, I'm stupid. Too bad I'm a lousy investor. Too bad I can't buy. I had a reputation that I gave myself, but it was actually true that if I would buy a company stock, the company would go out of business within 6 months. Hey, I don't try it. I'll buy Microsoft. You'll see. But I actually, a couple weeks after I turned 50, my aunt turned 100 and so I walked into her birthday party still being a grudge and in a crappy mood. And I walk in there and there she is. She's sitting at this table holding court. They've got a sash on her and a little tiara. And she's just like everybody who comes in, she knows their name. She knows all the family members. My dad's one of 10. So when I walk into a family reunion, I recognize people that are in my little tier and everyone else just, I don't know where they came from. I don't know who they belong to. She knew every single person, their birthday, who they were married to, their anniversary, like everything. And I'm like, I just stood there. I literally looked at her across the room and I felt like something hit me on the head. And I thought, oh my God, if this is what 100 looks like, then I have 50 more years to get this right. And so it's just like whoosh, huge paradigm shift. And it did happen that quickly, but it's just, wait a minute. Okay, I may have taken 50 years to like get the hang of this, but it's not over.
No, it's not. It's not over till it's over.
Exactly.
You've interviewed lots and lots of people. I was looking at your show again last night. Some very notable people, some very successful people, a lot of different walks of life, a lot of different entrepreneurial pursuits for the most part.
Yeah.
And what would you say if there were three lessons you've learned from interviewing other people? What would those three biggest lessons be?
There's the biggest things, right, is mindset. That's really what I just come back to. And everybody who I talk, and persistence. So there's mindset, right? You have to believe that you can do it, believe that you're not, nothing's working against you, right? To quote Tony Robbins, and I think he's a quote of Jim Rohn is, what if everything was working for you, not to you, right? What if everything was happening for you, not to you? And that once you realize that, oh, wow, I wonder what this is going to teach me. And I wonder what's going to come out of this really seemingly unpleasant situation. So that's one thing is just like how you address the world, your mindset, your belief system. And then there's the persistence. Like everybody I've talked to who's now, not everybody, obviously some people are born with money, but most of the people who were self-made millionaires, they ran up against some bad situations, right? They had to be persistent. They had to keep going. They had to say, oh, that's it. I'm just not cut out to be a millionaire. I guess I'll just go back to work at Walmart. Nobody said that. They said, all right, what can I learn from this and never do again? And just keep trying it. And then eventually you succeed. Eventually you get to where you need to be, whether that's mindset wise or whether that's life lessons or learning, meeting the people you need to meet. And the other one is, again, it's another Jim Rohn quote, I guess. I'm just like channeling him this afternoon, is that you are basically the average of the 5 people who you spend the most time with. And that's the other big thing. Like talking to people on the podcast, it's been such a great experience because that elevates me, right? Suddenly I'm in the room with people who I probably would never have been able to meet in any other way. And you're a perfect example, right? Being able to ask questions of people and then to take that back and to replicate that in my life by having mastermind groups. I'm a member of 3 different mastermind groups, right? Just to keep the positive energy going. It's easy for you to get knocked down by the news and whatever else is going on. But if you can stay with people who have a longer vision and a broader mindset and a more positive attitude, it just makes the world of difference in your life.
And it's amazing that you say that because I didn't share this with you when we talked last week, but yeah, I knew Jim very well. And I had lunch with him here in Dallas. And the guy who actually co-wrote The Seasons of Life used to be my colleague in a company that I ran here in Dallas.
Wow.
He says to me one day, Jim's in town. And I'm like, Jim who? There's a million guys named Jim. He goes, Roan. He goes, you want to have lunch with him? And I'm like, oh, let me check my calendars. Yeah, Jim Rohn. I could have been having lunch with the president and the Pope. I would have canceled it to talk to Rohn because I want to learn more. But
Right.
anyway, we talk about Jim forever. But I want to stay on this because I got a lot of questions for you. You interviewed a lady, and I hope I don't torture this poor lady's last name, Audrey Arbe. Arbe? ARB. She's 82
Yeah,
years old.
it's RB.
RB.
Yeah.
What did you learn from her? Because I thought that was a really compelling interview. Her attitude at 82, to your point
Oh,
about
yes.
just like this lady was not your normal 82-year-old, needless to say.
Yeah, that's for sure. She was just a firecracker and so interesting. She was living abroad. She was just doing anything she wanted to do. She was really, if you listen to her interview, she was all about health food and making sure that she takes care of herself with all that. But she just was, I won't even say determined, just oblivious to the fact that she was 82 and that should mean something in terms of her body and her mind and everything else. She was just, and I guess that's one of the biggest things that I took away from that is just if you're just making the world do what you want it to do. And I've seen that a lot. I'm sure you've done that. You go to a concert, for example. I was in a concert with one of these aging rockers. They're 80 years old, they're 82 years old, and they're standing on the stage and they're belting it out and they look good, they feel good, they're running around the stage. And you're just like, if you love what you're doing, that's what old age can look like. That's what aging can look like because you're fired up and you're engaged. And other people who are 72 and they're just sitting there with the remote. It's just a whole different approach to living.
Yeah, I think talking about her, talking about what Roan said about the five people that you really associate with, I think part of the message there is to guard your relationships.
Yeah, absolutely, John.
You know,
Absolutely.
you kind of have to guard it. I have one friend who's a really nice guy, but he's down on his luck and he's always woe is me. And I have to cut the conversation short with them because unfortunately I can't afford to get in that mindset. And I don't mean financially. Financially, I'm fine. But up here, I deal with
Mentally,
where
right.
I need to be sharp, attentive, proactive, professional, polite. Like I can't get into that woe is me because we all can do it. I mean,
Right.
can't feel sorry for ourselves, but at the end of the day, what good does it do you?
Yeah, and that's what happens because we're built as humans to relate to each other. So if someone starts saying, "Oh, my back, my hip, my this, my that," like you do this mental scan. How does my hips feel? How do I am I uncomfortable? Am I right? And you're just like, "Oh my God, stop."
Exactly. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. There was a guy 85 years old. I interviewed a guy in Florida who runs it's a senior home, but it's not for aging people. It's just for people that are over a certain age. I met this guy who just turned 85, literally rode his bike across the United States, 3,000 miles.
Unreal.
And I remember that individual, but it's, you hear these stories and you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what we need to be like at every age. 64, you need
Yeah.
to be that way. You're not going to start at 85. If you don't start
Exactly.
sooner, you're probably not going to get there. Hey, how
Right.
about this? Can money buy happiness?
If you know how to spend it. No, of course not, John. Don't be silly. How can money buy happiness? No, it can't because there are a lot of miserable people who have plenty of money, but it certainly can facilitate it. It can certainly rent it for a few minutes.
Exactly, exactly. What three things should people to do right now? They listen to our podcast and they say, okay, there's three things that I can implement into my life, into my business, into my relationships, into my health. What would those three things be?
I'm limited to three. Oh gosh.
Maybe more.
One thing I think everybody, so what's the thing that you hear from so many people all the time? I don't have time to do that. So that's the first thing. Get up an hour earlier. And then you'll have time. It's amazing how time just materializes when you get the heck out of bed. Right. And use that time to listen. Okay, that's good. Get up an hour earlier and then listen. Listen to yourself, to your body, to your partner, to your coworkers, to your employees. Listen, really listen, right? Active listening. Listen to what they're saying. Make sure you understand what they're saying. Reflect it back. And then eat half of what's put in front of you. How about that?
And what three things that they're doing right now that they need to stop doing right now that are holding them back from achieving their God-given abilities on this planet while they're still breathing? What three things should they stop doing?
I bet they know what those three things are, right? People know people know as soon as you hear yourself say, I can't do that because, then that's the first thing you need to do. So you need to find a way to get yourself into a positive mindset. So I would say the first thing that you should stop doing right now is every time you're with somebody and they make you feel tired or depressed, you got to cut the ties. A lot of Brian Tracy has a thing. Knowing what you know today, if what would you never do again, knowing what you know today? If you could go back and not do it, what would you not have started? And figure out what those things are and stop doing them, because that's a big thing. I would even say only use your phone for communication.
Hmm.
Don't sit there and get into the doom scroll. And my own personal opinion is that the news is highly overrated. Yeah, your goal is to have a happy, positive attitude and to be looking at the world in a happy, positive way. So fill your life with happy, positive people. And if that means you have to quit some organizations, if that means you have to cut people short on phone calls, if that means you have to stop looking at social media, and if that means that you have to spend less time with certain people, even if they're family members, find a way to do that, because attitude is everything. I don't know
Absolutely.
if that was like 10 things or one thing, but
No, it's all relevant things. That's the most important thing. Advice for people building wealth past the age of 50.
you got to be a little bit bold, and you can't, your time for trial and error has ended at that point. So don't be like, "Yeah, I'll do a little of this and a little of that." Pick something, pick a lane, start with something. I had a friend of mine who's a business owner, a very successful person. She, when social media first came out, I'm going to choose one channel, one type of social media, and I'm going to learn everything. I'm going to spend the whole year learning about that type of social media. And you can do that with investing as well. So, like, she got to be an expert on Facebook, and the next year you can become an expert on Instagram instead of saying, "Oh, I need to know every single channel." No, get to be an expert. And so do that with your investing. First of all, you have to invest. You've got to put your money to work, right? You can't just save up and put it under the mattress and hope to become a millionaire someday. So decide, like, I think I have a bend toward real estate investing. I think I'm interested in research. I'm going to do stocks. I'm going to do whatever it may be. I'm going to become some type of get involved in some multi-level marketing, or I'm going to just do something else. So pick that thing, learn everything you can about it. Take classes, take seminars, take webinars, get into some mastermind groups with like-minded people. If you decide on stocks, join a stock investing club and just suck it up, right? Learn as much as you possibly can. And when you're making money in that channel and you really understand it and you can, to the point where you can help other people, then learn about something else so that you can just say, "Oh, I better buy some real estate and some stocks." No, pick something that you feel connected to and just learn everything you can about that. Because like I said, your time for trial and error and throwing stuff against the wall and see what sticks. That's because you can obviously make money in any type of investing. People have done it. So figure out how they did it.
That's great advice, actually, because a lot of people too, I notice over 50, they get a little bit panicky. And it's, do I buy Bitcoin? Do I do this? Do I do that? Do I buy shorts in stocks? Do I get network marketing? What network marketing company? What product? They try to do 20 things.
Yeah.
And I think, I'd love your opinion on this. I think less is more.
Yeah, absolutely.
To what your friend suggested there, that's good advice. Hey, I'm going to study this one thing and figure it out, and then I'll be an expert on it. I'll have authority with it versus I know a little tiny, I know 10% about 10 different things versus knowing 100% about one thing.
Yeah. Any way that anyone has ever made money, you could too, but you need to know what the heck you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's by design. It's not by luck.
Yeah, exactly. I interviewed somebody the other day. I don't even know if her episode's live yet, but she took a year to learn about doing shorts, doing selling, stock investing, doing buying shorts and puts and all that kind of stuff. She took a whole year to learn about how to buy options. And then after that, she started doing it. So she played with fake money for a whole year. And then she got it to the point, and then in a very short time, she got herself to be a millionaire. And now she's teaching other people how to do it. But she really went deep on that and it was successful.
Right? Makes a lot of sense. So what's the mindset to beat debt? So many Americans right now, Canadians, Brits, people listening to us in English speaking markets,
Yeah.
a lot of people have debt. I forget the number that the Fed put out a couple of months ago, but it was astronomical in credit card debt. Ridiculous. How do people get the right mindset when they look and they go, "Hey, I got $400,000 of debt. I got $1 million of debt. I got 50,000 of debt, but I'm retired. How did I get that right mindset?
Yeah, it's really, there are so many nuances to this, John. It sounds like an easy question. You just like spend less money, fool. But it's really, it's deeper than that, right? We don't, because once you're there, what's the right, and a lot of it's student loan debt. People still in my age have student loan debt. It's crazy. And there are a lot of different philosophies to it. But I feel like the first thing you need to do is to get real about where you're at, right? Do a spreadsheet, do something so that you know exactly how much money you owe everybody, exactly how much interest you're paying to all those people, and consolidate what you can. You can probably still, if your credit's good, you can probably still get a 0% credit card, put everything there so that you can just attack. There was definitely a time in my life, there's been more than one time in my life, because I'm a bit of a crazy entrepreneur at heart, when I've had a fair amount of debt. And at one point in my 20s, I was just like, oh my God, I'm in a terrible situation here and I can't pay these bills. I'm using one credit card to pay for another credit card. And that's what I did. I took everything, I put it on a spreadsheet. I figured out where can I make the quickest gains? Like where am I paying 29, 30% in interest? Where if I have some kind of like interest that's accruing on like a daily basis, like a student loan debt or something like that. And then I called all the companies to see what I could do. Hey, will you make a deal with me? I'm in this situation, whatever. And some of them were willing to settle for a portion of what I owed them, which was great. But the main thing is, right, change your mindset, right? I'm not going to be in debt anymore. How can I get out of it? And as soon as I did that, weird things happened, things you wouldn't believe. The universe just fell into line. And then within less than a year, I was out of debt.
Nice, nice. So let's talk about finding the right people, because one of the challenges as we get a little older is some of our friends die off, unfortunately. Some of them move out of state, or grandkids are across the country and they pick up their lives and go.
Yeah.
How do we build the right tribe, so to speak, locally, so that we've got those four or five or three or whatever the number is? I don't think there's any specific number to this, but that group that kind of supports one another in terms of not only business, but in terms of life, because I think that it's so important. You're familiar with the Blue Zones, I'm sure.
Yes.
And watch some of the work that they produce. And it seems like the groups that are the longest lived in the world are very community focused. If
Yeah.
somebody doesn't show up at the local coffee shop at 8 o'clock in the morning, they go knock on the door. Where are
Yeah.
you? Did they fall? Did they get, yeah. Anyway, point being, Americans are not good at that. Not as good as the rest of the world. But how do we build that right tribe on a local basis so that we've got people that we can be in contact with, be in community with, that care about one another? I don't mean that you're in each other's business, just that you're like that extended family as our own families move away, grow away, etc.
Yeah. That's a great question, John. And I know that a lot of people struggle with that. And even today, I'm at the gym, and half the people at the gym, they've got their earbuds in.
So
Yeah.
we,
And I do feel that that our lives are becoming more and more isolating, right? People, they don't have a trainer at the gym, they've got a trainer online. They don't have this, everybody's online. So I guess obviously you have to be intentional. And I've really found those kind of communities through volunteering in areas that are of interest to you. So I've got a great group right now where we're saving a building, right? There's this beautiful old church that they were going to tear down, and we're working really hard to get the city to sell us the building, and we're raising $20 million and all that. So that group, because we share a common goal and we're really excited with all the progress and stuff like that, that we've become like family. Now we're not going to the coffee shop together and things like that, but so I guess the real answer is you have to do it intentionally. You have to decide that I'm going to go up to this person who I see every day at the gym, and I'm going to ask them out for coffee. And I'm going to go over to this person who I see who's in a class with me, or who's at work or whatever. And I'm going to invite them to do something with me, because I want a more personal connection with that person. It's okay. All of my mastermind groups actually are on Zoom. So that is a thing. You can do that. But I feel like the in-person crowd, especially if you're working from home and stuff like that, go join something and then even if it's make a meetup group or something, and be intentional about I'm going to find people who I can connect with, and I'm going to maybe come out of my comfort zone a little bit and go invite that person to do something more personal with me. Is
Mm.
that what you were?
Yeah, exactly. Because it's funny because like yourself, I interview people almost every day and I get interviewed every day and everything else. And I was thinking about that the other day. It's like I've had 4 people die in the last 2 months that I knew that they weren't super close to me now. It's one point in my life they were really through business, no family members, fortunately. But I was thinking about that and I said, it's a great question for yourself. I asked another lady I interviewed last week the same question because it's really important, I think, as we get older that we've got that support group. And maybe they don't live in our town. Maybe it is by Zoom. Okay. But it's still almost people that you're accountable towards
Yeah.
without having necessarily business relationships with them current. Maybe you have in the past, maybe you will in the future, but important.
Yeah.
And it leads me to another question. Because you deal with so many people financially, do you think most Americans have really thought about estate planning properly?
I know they haven't. In the last year, I've helped 2 people who's who were the beneficiary, who thought they were the beneficiary of a trust. And so the person was diligent, they did their estate planning, they created their trust, and then oops, they didn't fund the trust. They don't realize that the attorney who creates the trust is not the same person who puts the assets into the trust. And so there's probably, I don't know, millions, but lots and lots of trusts in this country that have nothing in them.
Mm-hmm.
And then the person passes away and it's, oh, too bad. And now we're back to court to fight over the assets that you thought you had intentionally given to one person or to one party or whatever. And it's a mess. It takes years to sort it out, especially, I hate to say, the money can bring out the worst in some people, and those people come out of the woodwork. And it just, so that's one for sure. And that's the people who even have a trust, right? A lot of people are just like, oh, it's fine. They'll work it out. People don't know what they don't know. So
That's
I absolutely think that they need to sit with an estate planner, an estate attorney, figure out what's the best way to hold your assets so that they go where you want them to go. There are people who have life insurance who don't have beneficiaries on their life insurance. That's a rookie mistake, but then your family's not protected the way you thought they were. Like, do you want to get life insurance so that your state can take all your money? That makes no sense.
exactly. Yeah, they need to always have with any good size estate, they always have to have an irrevocable life insurance trust. And a lot of people don't understand. I have life insurance. Yeah. Guess what? That money's part of your estate. But with the islet, you don't own it.
Exactly.
Your family members do. Yeah. I mean, but there's a lot of little things like that I find in talking to so many people that are smart people. Look, they wouldn't have assets if they weren't smart.
Yeah,
Today, unless you found them under a bridge, you worked your butt off for them. Don't give them to
exactly.
your state or the federal government. They're just going to waste them anyway.
As we've seen.
If you don't have a family, leave it to the ASPCA, leave it to the local little league, leave it to your church, your synagogue, your mosque. Leave it to people who are going to actually say, "Wow, we appreciate it."
Yeah.
Like
Well, and
government.
even if you decide that the best way to use your money is to give it to the government, do it intentionally. Leave it to them in your will. Don't just like
Yeah.
hope for the best.
Exactly, exactly. Last 3 questions, okay? Because I want to come back to how people can contact you, get the book, hear the show, etc. So that's my last question. But in between questions, so life has changed for you and I, like it has for so many people in our general age category, okay?
Yeah.
Where we've got these 2 things that came up. One was podcasting. When did you make the decision to be a podcaster? And give me some of the results because obviously you got a great podcast, you got a great following, you got all of these shows you've done with all sorts of interesting people. When did you make that decision? Because it is a lot of work, as we both know.
It is. Yeah, it's an interesting question, John. I don't know that anybody's really asked me that before. In my whatever evolution, I decided at some point that I wanted to go to be it's funny that I'm going to say this now because I'm not doing a very good job, that I wanted to become a good public speaker. And so I ended up signing up for a very small class with Brian Tracy. There were only 10 of us in the class and spending a weekend with him. And one of the last things he said was, I can't answer a question with a simple answer. one of the last things he said was, you should join the National Speakers Association because you're going to meet some great people. You're going to make some great connections. So when I went, so I did, and it was coming up like their convention called Influence was coming up a couple months later. So I said, okay, great. I'm going to go to this convention. And there was a booth there, and it was a podcast booth. And I didn't know much about podcasting at the time. This is probably 10 years ago. And so I got to talking to the guy, and he's, oh, you should come to our thing. It's called Pod something. I can't remember the name of the convention. Anyway, so I said, okay, sounds like fun. You can tell I like to travel. I'll take any excuse. And so I went to and I learned all about podcasting. I learned what equipment and how, and I just thought, I want to do this. This seems really fun. Back in 2019, I just started it up. What should I call it? Oh, it's that kind of thing. Oh, I think I'll start a podcast. What should I call it? That's how I am. Okay, I'm going to do this thing. Yeah. And so anyway, and then the rest is history, I guess you could say.
Yeah. And same thing around the same time. And all these years later, it's like I got 200 I think about 280 shows on this channel. And then I do stuff for Top Doctor magazine, and I do stuff with the Health and Longevity show. And I probably got
Cool.
40 or 50 with them that I'm not even counting. And it's crazy. It's because all you're doing is having a conversation. People think it's so hard. It's like you're really just talking to interesting people. Just ask good questions. And my second question, though, because the other thing that's changed big time for all of us is this thing with AI, where AI has come out of the woodwork, so to speak, and changed all of our lives. How are you using it in a good way? And what do you see the future with it?
I love AI, I have to tell you. It is all the stuff, all the crap that I hated to do. AI is so good at it. And even the stuff that I feel like has to have my personal touch on it, AI just gives me such great ideas. So I feel like for any of my writing stuff, like any of my blogs and even the podcast, I'll put the video in I'll put the podcast video into this AI thing, and it creates all these clips, and it creates all the notes for the clips. It's like I was paying someone to do that. And I'm like, bing, 2 seconds. It's not even 2 seconds. Like, oh, here's a whole bunch of clips for you. Thanks. Then I just schedule them up and off they go. It's like awesome.
It is amazing. Last question, Christine, as we wrap up today. Okay. And I've enjoyed this, by the way. I enjoyed doing your show.
Me too, John. Thank you so much.
I can talk to you all day, but we know our listeners have tolerance. Okay. When are they going to be finished? The most important question, of course, is, okay, we mentioned the book. Okay. We mentioned the podcast. Okay. If you want to mention those again, where they can get them, where they can hear the show. And then, of course, also, if they want to reach out to you for whatever reason, pick your brain, join some of the groups that you formed or whatever, just where do they find you?
Thanks, John. Yeah, the easiest way is chrismccarron.com. That's where, from there, you can find the podcast. You can find rather than me listing off the 400 different links and websites and stuff. And there, so you can buy the book there. You can connect with me. You can find ways there's like a contact sheet. And yeah, I think that's just the easy peasy way to do it. It's funny because I interviewed this guy one time. He said, my wife has me on a 12-step program for URLs. I'm like, oh, if I had a wife, she'd do the same thing. And all these websites is ridiculous.
I'm guilty. We've simplified everything. Just go to johnsolider.com. You'll find me.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I did. chrismccarron.com. There I am. And that's everything that used to be all over the place.
Exactly. This has been a pleasure, and we ought to do it again every few months. Let's revisit, because you're a wealth of information, and you're making things happen. Most importantly in this world, and at an age, not that you're old or not that I'm old, the age where a lot of people are saying, "Hey, I want to put my feet up and forget about work." It's, hey, now's the time, boy. Between podcasting and AI and all the other stuff that's going on,
So fun.
So many opportunities ahead that I wish I was 24 instead of 64.
I know, and that's the thing, like retirement. So I am retired, right? I'm not doing anything that I don't want to do. So isn't that what retirement is?
Yeah, me too. Yeah, exactly. This has been a pleasure, my friend.
Oh, me too. Thanks so much, John. I had a great time.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in. Be sure to check back weekly for more exciting episodes. And don't miss Ink and Insight every Wednesday, where we celebrate iconic authors and dive into their impactful works.